Glad you're all here. Famous words of Kevin Trudeau, for your wishes, your command. Um, this is day number 385 of me documenting my journey and building day number. I've been documenting my journey for the last 385 days and building day number. Um, and documenting here on YouTube, and then also my own platform since day number 170. And pretty much what I talk about every day is do on these streams is talk about what happened the day before, and then also what's gonna happen today or what my plans are today, and then usually a topic related to that. I'm also a professional magician. Been doing that for the last 23 years. That's why you see here my name is Magic Jordan. And yeah, it seems kind of laggy. I don't know, maybe not. But topic for today. Well, yesterday, what did I do yesterday? Mostly did client work yesterday, and man, just been on a track of like trying to hustle for money, you know. And I actually, if you guys don't know, I built a platform where essentially it's like a public journal for founders. You can make it public or private, just changed that recently. But even if you make it private or public, whatever, I connected Claude API to it. So essentially, you can query your logs and it gives you feedback. And yesterday, I hit the get today's insight from my own feedback, and it really really woke me up, knowing that it said, gave me a reality check basically, saying that I've been distracted and chasing small wins, and then going in the same cycle of like feeling bad, making these realizations, and then I'm just avoiding really what I need, knowing what I need to do for the mission. And that's the one thing I want to remind you guys of, and for myself as well, is that a lot of times, especially if you've been building or working on a project and there hasn't been much traction after a while, or what's going on? Hey, what's up, man? Welcome. Or if you're a girl, welcome. What's up? I'll still say, hey, what's up? Usually when you're building something and there's not much traction, sometimes we get distracted and go on to the next thing that's going to make us money. But the one thing that my own app reminded me of is that to go back and remember the mission of why you're building and actually do the things that are going to move that needle forward. I was just reading James Dyson's book. If you guys know the Dyson vacuum cleaner, they have like a Cyclone. It's like a bagless vacuum cleaner, if you guys heard of it. I'm reading his autobiography, really good. And one of the things that he learned from early time after he graduated, working under a manufacturer, Jeremy Fry, was that you could be, if you're gonna design something, to be an entrepreneur, really was to control the whole process. And this is kind of like something like Steve Jobs also did too. Was he did, like designing the product, manufacturing the product, and then selling it. Is really what a lot of great entrepreneurs do. And you might say like, oh no, Steve Jobs didn't. He wasn't an engineer. He didn't do any coding or anything like that. But he pretty much took care of the whole end-to-end process. He was in charge of designing it. He was in charge of manufacturing, and then also selling it as well, marketing it. He was one of the best marketers out there, right? But one of the things that I realized is that you have to believe in what it is that you're doing. You have to believe in the mission that you're going after, you're committed to, and that it's actually going to produce, and be willing to take that risk as well. Even James Dyson, his first venture, he made this ball barrel. Aura says, I liked and subscribed. Thank you for the like and subscription. Even he made this his first venture was called the ball barrel. If you guys don't know what a wheelbarrow is, it's pretty much like an inflated ball that's at the end instead of a replacement of a wheel. And it actually did quite well. in terms of the business, but he didn't know how to manage like shareholders and people that were in part of the business. And then he ended up, and the debt at that time, this was the 70s when interest rates were like 24%. So he borrowed money at like 24%, which is crazy to even think about, you know um, at that time. But and he ended up failing, but one of the things that he maintained was his vision for being a successful entrepreneur and designer, right? And so he never stopped that. um, and so for you guys, or for even for myself, we have to remember that, no matter how many times, like, he even took that risk of like, um, he had a wife and 3 kids at that time, and he took that risk of actually building that company and failing. And so after 5 years of work, having nothing to show for it, he was penniless. Um, the one thing he did have was the wisdom behind it. And he actually, when he was building that, he actually saw like the cyclone type of like style that was used to like basically take up dust without like a bag or anything like that. And he ended up using that for the Dyson vacuum. But he was willing to take that risk. And the good thing is he had a supportive wife, to actually pursue his passion and what it is that he was building. But sorry guys, I'm actually with my dog here. Yeah, he had a supportive wife to what it is that he was building. But you have to you have to be willing to take that risk and know that it's not the end of the world. At that time, even in the 70s, when James Dyson was building his first company, yeah, it was like I said, the interest rates were high. There was a bit of there was a recession. There was the Vietnam War that was going on still. There was bombs going off where he was living, like, in London, like certain things like protests and stuff like that were happening. And he still took that risk. So you have to be willing to take that risk, with whatever it is that you're doing. I think and I'm talking to myself because, right now I'm kind of taking it easy, like, meaning playing the safe road. I'm still working, a full-time job, doing stuff on the side. And it's like, no, like, you gotta, you gotta take bigger risk and go all in with what it is that I'm doing. So if that's you, if you guys are, building something and are afraid, like, remember why it is that you're, choose even considering to build it. There's a bigger purpose, right? So, hang on a second. Got Max here. Max, look at me. Hey, welcome. Oh, that was a big hawk. But yeah, you have to remember why. Why are you building? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why is it that you're actually pursuing the thing that you're doing? And be willing to take a risk and go all in on it. And that's what I've seen in successful entrepreneurs. I've seen it with Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, James Dyson now. Like, they all took risks, and all of them had different points of risk in their life. Now I'm reading James Dyson. He had a family. Myself, I have a family. And it's like, you got to be willing to do whatever it takes, to go all in and go after the thing that you're looking to build. So that's the one thing I would say, that if you want to be super successful, you got to remember why it is that you started building in the first place. You got to remember that, don't get sidetracked. Even if you're not making money, even if you potentially fail in what it is that you're building, just remember that it's all worth it. It's all worth it, because the lessons that you're going to learn from even the failures are going to lead you to become super successful, right? So yeah, where you guys all tuning in from today? Where's everyone tuning in from? This is where we're at right now. Maxi boy. We're just at like one of the bigger parks in the area that I'm in. Actually, last year in these 3 baseball diamonds, my daughter and I, we went, there was like a baseball game here, and she wanted to make some money, so we bought like 4 packs of like Kool-Aid. put it in like a cooler and then sold them for like 1 for 3, 2 for 5. And she sold out on everything, so that was cool, you know. But she was determined, We could have failed, we could have like sold nothing, But every time we've gone out and sold stuff together, me helping her out, she like we never ever went home with stuff left over. Every time we've always sold out, because she was determined. She made a decision, and so I'm glad I taught her that. And it was also from her own determination as well. It wasn't just from myself, right? So, but yeah, where are you guys all tuning in from today? Welcome. Where's everyone? Which country? I'll shout out your country today. Man, I see some lives here. Like if you guys just swipe up or whatever and then come back, you'll see there's some stupidness that's going on out there, and people are just watching it. It's crazy. Like people are sleeping, putting like I seen one where it was like Messi and Ronaldo and like these balls going into a sink, and they're counting which ball goes in the sink, the red or the blue one. It's just people love to watch slop, and hopefully I can provide something for you guys that are scrolling here. It's actually going to be supportive, And so if you're just tuning in, like and subscribe. I go live every day. I talk about business, life. I'm open to answering any questions about, what it is that you're going through or dealing with, about success, what I've learned from my own. I'm not saying I'm super successful right now in terms of, how many lives I've impacted or, how big the company I've built. I'm just sharing what I've learned from people that I've been reading. People like I said, Michael Dell, fifth richest man in the world, Bill Gates, no longer one of the richest men, but, it's because he put a lot of his shares, he sold off most of his shares and put it into the foundation that he's building. And then Steve Jobs, obviously no longer alive. And then Elon Musk, the richest man in the world. And then now James Dyson, definitely not the richest man in the world, but still reading it. And again, same thing, goes back to the same thing, is you got to remember that remember why you started building. Even for myself, 385 days ago, I started documenting my journey. Go look back at my YouTube channel, and you'll see that I've been documenting my journey for 385 days. And definitely there's been moments where I've been super focused, and then moments where I've been like so distracted, by like either trying to get short-term gains. So that's one thing I'd share with you guys, is don't sacrifice your life for, I know you got to do whatever you got to do to survive, of course, but don't let that take over, and allow yourself to remember why you started, and continue to do the things that are actually going to fulfill your mission with what you're building. Right, Max? Where are we gonna go? Max? We're gonna go this way? You wanna run? Yeah? Okay, let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. So remember, guys, if you guys came here to listen about how to become super successful, I'd say, number one, define your dream. Define why you started, define what it is that you want and why you want it. And some people, you ask them, what do you want? What's your goal? What's your dream? They have no idea. I want to make $1 million. I want to be a billionaire. And I want to be the richest man in the world. It's like, okay, sure, great, that's awesome. Why? They don't even know why. Oh, I just want to be successful. I just want to be, I just want to be rich so I never have to worry about money again. Okay, that's great. But is that really going to motivate you? Right? Is that really going to actually push you to keep going and do what it is that you're looking to do? Or are you just going to, is that just a made-up goal that was made up by society to make you think that that's what's important, right? And most of the time, it's the latter, right? It's what society feels is important. and then you adopted it, and you thought that that was the right thing to do, right? So, holy. So no, define meanings. Pick something specific. It could be general. It could be a general thing that's specific. Oh, I just want to feel good now. I just want to feel good every day. I just want to be healthy. I just want to be, I just want to build I don't know. Whatever it is that it is, you have to define that first. And that's making that. And then once you define it, make a decision that you're going to actually go after it. Right? But you have to have the more whys that you have behind what it is that you're doing, the more fuel you're going to have to actually build it. And that's why Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, they had such a big mission of what it is that they're building, especially Elon, that he goes into demon mode sometimes, and because he knows that it's all about it's about humanity, it's about the mission that he's serving, right? So yeah, it might seem cruel, the way that he would treat people, but at the end of the day, it's all at what do you mean, for the purpose of actually building what it is that he's building, right? So don't forget. So that's the first thing, is define your dream. Define your dream. Know what it is that you want. You have to know it like it's your name, right? And so for me, I'm glad that that's the reason why I document every day, is to keep reminding myself, like, why did I start in the first place, right? Why did you start in the first place? Why did you start building what it is that you're building in the first place? And if you don't know that, sit down today, even right now, like, just pull out a piece of paper. And here's a good exercise that you guys could do, is pull out a piece of paper, blank sheet of paper, and at the top, write, what would I be, do, or have if money were no object, and I knew I could, money or time were no object, and you knew you couldn't fail. Meaning you had unlimited time, unlimited money, and you couldn't fail. What would you be, do, or have? And write those things down. Write a list, and keep going until you stop. Okay? And then how to choose what you to focus on is, what do you think you can, you have to choose one of those things. Choose one thing that is big enough to excite you and small enough that you can know you can get it, right? So in terms of in time, like, let's say within the next 6 to 18 months, okay, 6 to 18 months. And so once you pick that, then you know what to focus on. And then define why. Why do you want to build that? Why are you choosing that? So that's the very first thing, because that will carry you through. That's really what day number represents. What I'm building. The number of days that I've been counting. Right? Anybody that counts how many days they've been doing something, there's a bigger purpose behind it. Even like Alcoholics Anonymous, or any type of like anonymous type of like help, or let's say you're losing weight, or you quit smoking, you quit something, or or you've just been committed to doing something, whatever it is that you committed to doing. A lot of people count how many days they've been doing it because it means something to them, right? So that's the very first thing. Without that, it's not gonna matter. You're not gonna take those risks. You're not gonna do whatever it takes to actually make it happen. You're not gonna be able to make those decisions that are hard, like firing people, moving to a different country. A lot of people come here to Canada because they want a better opportunity, right? So they have to leave where they grew up. My mom, she left Philippines when she was 18, to help to provide a better life for her family. So imagine that, like at 18, you have to go to a different country. There's always, right now, there's probably war-torn countries that, that are, where people have to leave the country, unfortunately. But why? Why do they do that? It's because they want to provide a better life, Like Elon Musk wants to die on Mars. Why? Because he wants to provide humanity a chance to survive if anything catastrophic were to happen. So whether it's like a meteor or a nuclear war or whatever it is, that could potentially destroy this planet, where human civilization would no longer exist, right? And who knows, there might be civilization outside of this planet that probably is non-human, but it's a different species. I mean, there's billions and billions of stars, and imagine in those stars, there's billions and billions of planets. So, like, but, you know, we could be, like, human consciousness could be very small. You know, we could be the only planet that actually, you know, has human consciousness here, right? So yeah, guys, what do you guys, what are your thoughts? Any thoughts? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to comment on what I've spoken about? Yeah, look at that. Look at that sky. That's crazy. How's Max doing here? Maxie boy. Yeah, so I find that for some reason, live streams that are, you know, where people are not talking, people watch for some reason. Like something like, just like you're trying to figure out what's going on. And people stop and they're like even me, I'm like, why are there 100 people watching somebody sleep? Like, it's just dumb. You know, it's just like, and I'm thinking, okay, if these guys can get like 100 people watching them, man, like, what the hell is my problem? But some people, they just like slop. They just like garbage. Which is, I get it. You know, there's candy. People like candy. Hey, buddy. Maxie boy, come on. You want to say hi? I know, you want to play. Maybe I should just not say anything anymore. And then people will just start chatting. Man, it's like on live streams, what do you call it? Or you have like text to chat or donate to speak or whatever. I know Speed has that. You know, Safino says, I know it's strange, but I feel YouTube is more about lurking than Twitch. Huh, interesting. That's a good insight. Thank you for sharing that, Safino. So more people, like, they don't want to like comment, but you're thinking like Twitch is like more of an interactive platform. That's interesting. Because I was thinking actually about going live on TikTok as well. How it seems like TikTok's a more interactive. I don't know. But I don't know. I just kind of, I guess, continuing my streak here on YouTube for the last 384 days. I could still do it. You know, where maybe I go live here and then I go live on Twitch or on TikTok as well. I don't know. I mean, the main thing I'm doing this for is really to keep myself accountable and document my journey daily, and hopefully reach people that I can inspire and empower. You know, that's why I'm doing this. And I met some people too, like through this. I mean, shout out to Josh Galt, who has launched, who is building List Easier for eBay resellers. Yeah, he's connecting me with somebody local here, Innovate Niagara, which could turn into something, you know. So Safino Slay says, yes, I've been one myself and I've tried YouTube but gave up and switched over to Twitch. Interesting. How's Twitch been though? Like, how's the actual engagement there? And do you find that it's better than YouTube live streaming? Again, I think, what do you call it? I mean, I see, what do you call it? I watch, who do you call it? Ari at Home, the guy that does, makes beats on the spot and, you know, gives a platform for singers or rappers. And he gets a lot of, well, he does both. He does Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So I think if I had OBS on my phone, then I would use both. You know, I'll try to stream it on multiple platforms at the same time. You know. But my streams only last when I'm walking my dog. This is the only way I can. This is the only time really I can actually stream for a long time. I mean, unless I do it in my car. You know, that's another thing a lot of people do. just sitting. But I like walking and talking, you know. It's like you're walking along with me. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. You know, hit the subscribe button if anybody's here. I go live every day. I might consider going to Twitch as well. Not stopping YouTube. And also TikTok. I mean, might as well try all the platforms, right? Safino says, Slay says, at the start, it was slow, so slow until I networked there, and then it started growing. That's awesome. Well, hey, look, if you comment your Twitch on this video after it posts, I will follow you. I'll follow you there, for sure. You know, then we can all grow together. My goal is, like I said, my goal has always been, you know, if you're asking me what my mission is to empower entrepreneurs, startup founders globally to do what they think is impossible and make it possible. You know, really fulfill their mission with what they're building, right? And so that's why I built the platform that I built. That's why I'm doing these videos, is to really connect with people who have a vision to, you know, impact or change the world, and then at the same time create a successful business out of it. So yeah, and if you're just tuning in, you know, what I was talking about earlier was essentially that even for myself, because usually I've been documenting my journey for the last 385 days, and yesterday, you know, my own app gave me insight, because on my app, it's basically like a journal that AI can read, and you can share it publicly, you can share it anywhere, and then also gives you insights as well. And I hit the button Get Insight, today's insight, and it reminded me that, hey, look, Jordan, you're chasing short-term gains at the cost of your long-term goal, you know. And so that just reminded me that I have to remember the mission of what it is that I'm building. I have to remember why I started in the first place, and to really focus on that and go all in on that, because what you put your attention on is what's gonna grow, right? If you're focusing on YouTube, guess what? And that's the only thing you focus on and making it good, just like Mr. Beast, you know, now he's the most successful YouTuber in the world, right? He outlasted all the people that, you know, started before him, and also the people that started, you know, when he was on the come up. And then boom, you know, even he said he would do YouTube even if nothing ever succeeded or happened. He was just happy with, you know, actually being a YouTuber full time. You know, it was basically YouTube or die, right? Safino Slay says, but I've been on a break for a year now. Haven't been able to get myself into a new schedule. Oh yeah, we got to do that. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, like I said, I mean, I'm doing these live streams whenever it's convenient. For me, it's when I'm walking my dog. You know, Maxi boy. So he's been a huge component to this, and then also before work, right? Because prior to this, I was like, I only started live streaming like probably about 200 days ago, you know. So, and I've been doing live every day almost, pretty much. Want to do longer live streams like I did on my homepage, where I go to conferences. That's the goal, really. I want to go to like conferences, do magic, live stream. You know, that's gonna be fun. I wanted to go business to business. I did that one time, but I didn't live stream it. I did do a live stream last year when I went to the national exhibition. Oh, Max, you gotta go in? Okay, we're gonna go in. Yeah, like you can tell, he needs some water. Oh, all right, guys, I gotta go. This boy needs some water. Shout out to Safino Slays here, Oraz345, and anybody else that's here. Shout out to you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for subscribing and liking. I'll see you guys again tomorrow if you guys are tuning in. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, guys. And remember your why. Remember, define your dream. Okay, define why you want that. Okay, and have a burning desire. Okay, how do you develop that burning desire? The why has to be big. The dream has to be big enough, right? And then the why behind it also, right? And never forget that. Hey, the Josh Gal to go. Let's go. I was just giving you a shout out, actually. That's funny. I was giving you a shout out earlier. list easier for eBay resellers, guys. Um, Definitely tune into the Josh Galt. If you guys are not sure about what kind of business you want to do, look up his channel. Um, Definitely sometimes we need something to focus on that we don't know what to focus on to start our entrepreneurial journey. But you could do something like that where you buy and sell. That's how I started actually in terms of my entrepreneurial journey and learning how to sell was going B2B. This is obviously different than what Josh is doing, but buying and selling stuff is what I started doing, and I'm still doing it till today. So um, yeah, I was giving you a shout out based on how YouTube actually the live streams have benefited me. And even though there's not much reach here on YouTube for me, we were talking about like Twitch and like other platforms, but you're the one person who I connected with that was local that actually connected me with a real person. So that's awesome, man. So, and this is why I do these things, these streams. It's for the people that are looking to start something, or are founders, and to connect with people, to inspire people to really fulfill their mission with what they're building. So keep going, guys. Like I said, define your dream. Know why you started in the first place, and don't settle for short-term games at the cost of long-term your long-term vision. That's my last message. So have a great day, guys. Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you. I'm gonna keep going, for all the people here and for all the founders and future founders, that are looking to really make an impact in today's world and in the future, and also create a successful company. So love you guys. Shout out to everyone here. Josh Galt, check him out. List Easier, Safino Slays, and also Aura345. Have a great rest of your day, guys. And Lao Food Lover, there you go. Have a great day. That's awesome.